Hi everybody, welcome again to our October. We're in October PhotoFinish. So tonight we're going to talk about luminosity masks. Let me pull up my file here quick. I got a little script, but I don't ever read it. So what I wanted to do was start out by explaining what luminosity masks are. And then I'll go through a quick refresher in Photoshop to show what layers are and masks are, just real quick, so I can, let everybody know what we're working with. And then I'll talk about why you should be using luminosity masks, and then how to create them manually in Photoshop. And I have like 3 or 4 different methods, or is it three methods, and then we have the plugins. So I'm going to show how to use it. And then I'm going to show a couple examples. Actually, I'll go into that. We're going to talk about the third-party plugins, because once you see how I have to do them manually, you're going to be like, I don't want to do that, because it's kind of tedious. It's possible, but they're very tedious. The plugins, and I was supposed to do that today, I forgot. The plugins just make things so much easier, and you may have heard Luminosity or TK Actions. Those are the third-party plugins that I have, and those are the ones that most people use. Alright, so I'm going to go and share my screen. That one? Hold on. Yeah, I'm about as good at Photoshop as I am Zoom. Let's see. Is that it? Oh. Okay, you see my big leaf?
Yep.
Okay. So what are... Let me get this over. Come on. Alright. What are luminosity masks? Well, luminosity, let's just go with the definition here. Luminosity is just essentially it's how much light is coming through. So the luminance value. They percentage-wise they make they determine how much light is in an image, and or brightness. Excuse me. Masks are a feature of Photoshop that determines the transparency of the layer that it's covering. And so a luminosity mask simply is just a selection of different luminance values that you choose that create a selection. And that selection can be used to create a layer mask. And this, so when I was doing this, putting this together, I thought, this isn't really a mask. This is what we're creating are luminosity selections, and then we are dealing with whatever it is that we want to use. Because masks we can put onto a layer, and selections we can use as a stencil. So there are 2 different ways we can use it. All right, so Photoshop. So we have 3 different kinds of layers in Photoshop. Let me get this out of here. Hold on a second here. Okay. So we're going to start. We have an adjustment layer, which is this one right here. I do have a zoom thing. I don't know really how this works, but there. Did it zoom in for y'all?
Yep.
So right here, this is called an adjustment layer. This is an adjustment. This is a brightness contrast adjustment. And of course, when you open them, they will come with a mask. They're usually blank, but I happen to have this one loaded up. So this here is an adjustment layer. And then we have pixel layers, which is this layer here. Oh, this is a pixel layer, because it essentially has pixels. It is a photo in which is comprised of pixels. But this here is also a pixel layer, but it is a blank pixel layer. Let me see if I can show what that looks like. There you go. So this is what a blank pixel layer, you can see it's pixelated. So that is also a pixel layer. And then we have I don't use very often, and I'm not real knowledgeable of them, but this is called a, oh my god, my brain's fried. Hold on here. I gotta go with my notes. I should have printed these. Oh, that's right. Smart object layer. So a smart object layer is essentially a pixel layer, but it allows you to re-access the raw, the raw converter. Like Lightroom is a raw, oh god, whatever they call it, the raw converter. And when you're in Photoshop, if I were to go ahead and double click on this icon, it would open up Camera Raw, which is essentially just like Lightroom, and I can make quick edits without exiting Photoshop, which is kind of nice. So I'll go back here and get rid of that.
Robert,
Yes.
are you showing something on the screen? Because I see you talking, but I don't.
You don't see anything?
Yeah, I see everything.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
View. Hold on. Do you have, what kind of view do you have? Go up to your view.
Yeah, where?
View speaker, maybe. Yeah, right now I got Photoshop up with the big leaf, and then my little notes on the side.
Yeah, that's what I see.
Yeah, I
I
saw
can
it for
see
a
as
minute,
well.
but then it was gone.
Don't be reading my notes. I don't have two screens. I'm sorry. I got two at work, but not here. I gotta switch that. I gotta fix it. Christmas is coming.
Yeah,
Still nothing, Rolando?
not yet. I don't know why I'm not.
If you go up to the top right where it says View, you might have Gallery, Speaker.
Yeah, speakers gallery. Okay, no. Multi speakers. No.
Well, you could always exit out and try come back in and see if that works. Sometimes that resets it. I know when I work for the Out of Chicago people that whenever there's an issue, technically they always say just tell them to log out and get back in or exit
Okay,
out.
I'll do that.
Exit out and just pop back in. We'll wait a second.
No, I mean, continue. It's gonna be recorded.
Okay, well that's true. That's recorded. I always forget that. All right, so those are what the masks are. We're not going to be tested on this. What else we got? Okay, so like I said, masks allow us to control the transparency of a layer. This is where we can add or subtract whatever part of the layer is visible, or that we want to hide, or that we want to reveal. And this is where the term white reveals and black conceals comes from. This is what they're talking about. If I go here, I'm going to show you this layer. Let's turn these off. Okay. This is a pixel layer with a, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to delete this. Okay. Here is our pixel layer. Get rid of that zoomer. And I'm going to put a mask on it. Now you just see I just added this white layer mask. And now this is attached to this pixel layer, and it is white. So everything that this white layer is covering up this image, but because it's white, it's letting everything in that layer come through. Now if it was a black layer mask, which I'm going to press and hold Control or Command on a Mac, I for invert. Now that just made the layer mask black, and black conceals everything that's in that layer. So everything, I'm not pretend these are all hidden. Everything that was showing in that is now gone. You can't see it. It's still there, but it's just being hidden by the black layer. Okay. So yeah, and then if we want, now I'm going to click on, oops, that wasn't what I'm supposed to do. See, I told you. Okay, I'm going to grab a brush, and I'm going to paint with the white paintbrush on my black mask. And now you can see it's bringing back part of that image. And you can see on the thing here, this is our mask. And I just painted that in, and that's what happens here. So that's white reveals and black conceals. So black is concealing this part of the image, and the white is revealing it. Any questions on that so far? I didn't think. Okay, selections now are. I'm going to delete this as well. Again, selections are a specific area of an image that you define. You can draw it, you can paint it, I believe. You can. There's like different tools you can use to create selections, such as the marquee tool, the lasso tool, the magic wand, anything that can outline an area, a specific area. So I'm going to go up here and grab, in the toolbar. Let's see here if I can do that. Right here is this is our marquee tool. Oops. So we have the rectangular marquee, the elliptical marquee. These are for like single rows. I've used these tools like once. These single row ones. I don't think they're much useful anymore. And then down here we have the different tools, selection tools. There's a selection brush, a lasso, and a polygonal lasso, and a magnetic lasso, which I don't ask me what they do. I've always only just used the lasso tool or the other one. So I'm going to click on that. Let me zoom back out. So I'm on the lasso tool, and I'm just going to... I'm just going to like draw around this leaf here. So we have some marching ants. Now I'm going to take that brush again. Oh, I got to do a layer mask first. Sorry. Okay. Well, this is what happens. When you have the selection already drawn, and then you click on the layer mask, it automatically applies it. So you can see here that on this mask, we have the white in the middle. This is what I drew, and then the black on the outside. So white reveals, black conceals. So all we're seeing here is what I drew. Alright. So essentially, what we're doing with luminosity selections or masking is creating a stencil out of the luminance values in the image. Okay. So why should you use a luminosity mask in Photoshop compared to Lightroom? Because we all know Lightroom, if you're a Lightroom user, Manny, are you a Lightroom user?
No, I have never got into Lightroom. I always worked in Photoshop.
Oh, you have? Oh, okay. Well, then if I say something incorrect, please let me know.
No, you're way beyond my
Oh, okay.
experience, so you're good.
I had to do a lot of research to come up with some of this terminology, so I wanted to make sure that I did everything correctly. So Lightroom, from its beginning, it was basically a way to organize and edit photos, but it has gotten so good. It's so powerful now, and one day it might be good enough to do what Photoshop does. Excuse me. But Photoshop is still much more precise in the way it selects. Lightroom, I feel when I'm doing like a Lightroom version of a luminosity mask, I feel like it just doesn't look right. It looks burnt or like melted or something. It just doesn't work. So if I'm going to do some really heavy lifting luminosity wise, I will round trip it into Photoshop. Okay, so how do we create them in Photoshop? Let me just see if I can get rid of this here. Oh. Okay, well, that didn't do anything. Alright, I'm just trying to make this small enough so I can still read it, but... Okay. Okay, so... Oh, where did our selection go? So I'm going to close this image out because I have other ones. Or no, we could use this one. Okay. So, like with anything in Photoshop, there are 100 different ways to do something. And I've been following quite a few photographers, and one, my friend Eric Bennett, I have every tutorial he's put out, and he uses this first method all the time. And I even asked him, I said, why don't you just use plugins? Because, you know, he's like a really good photographer. And he says, this is just the way I learned. And that's the way he does it. And that way, when he's trying to teach somebody, they don't have to say, well, oh, now you want me to buy this just to be able to do something. And he didn't want to do that. So he uses the old-fashioned way. Okay, so what we're going to do is... oh, I already said that. Okay, so... we don't need to talk about that. Okay, my preferred method for doing anything in Photoshop is to start in Lightroom. Now you see here. Oh, I don't have my leaf in my little collection. So I'll start in Lightroom. I'll make a few edits, and then I'll right-click either in this photo or down in the film strip. Whoops, where'd you go? You can right-click here, or you can right-click up here. And edit in Photoshop. And then what happens is Lightroom will take the image that's imported in Lightroom, and it will merge it into Photoshop, where you can see here it is. And once you're done making any edits, and this is any edits at all, not just luminosity mask. Once you're done, you get file and save. Once that saves that image, it will take it right back into. Oops. It'll take it right back into Photoshop or into Lightroom, which I kind of like, because it'll put it back in the catalog here, right next to the original. So we call that round tripping. All right. So, I start off in Lightroom, make some global edits, and then I'll bring it into Photoshop like I have now. God, where is my thing? Sorry. Oh, every time I try to find something, it doesn't come up. Alright, I'm going to have to wing it. Alright, so we have to make sure that we have a channels, because we're going to use, this is where these channels come in. We have blue, green, and red. Those are the three different color channels in our photos. Every pixel in our image has blue, green, and red pixels, or they're blue, green, and red are embedded in each pixel. Every pixel contains some value of blue, green, and red. Don't ask me how much, because I really don't know. RGB is the combination of all three, so this is why we use RGB. And then down here, oh, let me get my. God, I'm so sorry. I can't. Oh, why are you doing this? Trying to find my magnifier. Okay. So, down here is called the selection tool. If I hover over it, it'll come up. Load channel as selection. So we click on the RGB channel, and then we're going to click on the load channel as selection. So I just click once. I didn't press anything, and now you can see the marching ants, correct? Oh, where'd it go? For God's sake. There they are. There are the marching ants. So what this has done is selected highlights, the highlights. And these highlights essentially are 50% gray or brighter. And then, let me get my notes again. 50% gray or brighter. Okay, so we're going to apply this then to the, oh, for God's sake. I am so sorry, you guys. Alright, so we're going to apply this to the pixel layer by clicking the layer mask. The layer mask is down here. Let me see if I can zoom that in for you. Boom. Down here at the bottom right is a little square rectangle with the circle in it. that is a layer mask. And right next to it here is the adjustment icon. Just so you know. So right down here, we're going to click on the mask. Let's do it here. Layer, mask. So because we had that selection active, it automatically applied the mask to this this layer, this layer mask. So this is why you can see that most everything is like pixelated, because it is a very bright image, and pretty much everything is 50% bright. Now the pixels that you can't see, I'll zoom in here a little bit. So you can see very, very little of the leaf, but now the stem was very dark, so that is gone. That essentially has a black mask on top of it, so it is hiding that portion of it. But all the bright areas, that is revealing them. So hopefully that makes some sense. It's very tedious, and then a lot of times people want to say, well, I want to go, I don't want everything that's 50% gray, I want to go a little bit further in, or I want to do just the dark. So if we click on, I'm clicked on the layer mask here, I'm going to press and hold down Control or Command and press I for invert. Now we just inverted that mask so that black became white and white became black. So now we're seeing more of the leaf, we can see the stem, but it's hiding most of the bright, because now the bright areas have been masked out. Have I lost y'all?
We're good.
But the best way to see this is with a contrast, is with an adjustment layer, which this is an adjustment layer here. I'm gonna cancel that mask. So we have an adjustment layer, and there's nothing adjusted yet. So I'm gonna go back up like I did before, click on the RGB up here, and then I'm gonna go here and click the little selector tool just once. Now we got our selections. So we have selected everything that's 50% gray or brighter, and now I'm going to put that into a layer mask on this adjustment layer. So before it was a pixel layer, but now it's an adjustment layer. So I come down here to the layer icon, just click on it, and now this layer mask, this is our layer mask. And to see what the layer mask looks like, I'm just hitting the Alt or Option button and then clicking on the mask. So now we're going to see what this does. I'm going to double click on the adjustment, and now we'll actually make adjustments. So we can do brightness. See how the bright areas have just, and the areas in the sky, which is more transparent than the leaves because it's brighter, those show more of the effect than the leaves do. But you can do that because of this selection tool and this selection and luminosity mask. Alright. So that's kind of how to do that. You know what, I should show you how to do the other thing. To refine the mask, we have to, let's see, go and click, let me see, channel, refine.
Can I ask a quick question before you go?
Yes, absolutely.
So when I try something similar, not a luminosity mask, but something similar to this, I get an edge between the mask and the actual picture. How do you get rid of that visible edge that, you know, there was things there that came together?
You mean on the outside of the picture, or?
No, just exactly between the luminosity mask.
Oh.
And the picture itself.
So like a halo?
Yeah, you change in the brightness, but where the brightness stops changing next to the leaf, there's a transition line that sometimes is more visible than others.
Right. Are you working on multiple layers, or when you do this?
No, just
single one?
Yeah.
Huh.
Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
It's probably a halo. Like, look down here. Or it could be like a maybe some part of your image is blown out, overexposed or underexposed.
Yeah, possibly.
Now, like down here, you can, oh god, get this. Now this stem here, you can see when I go way down in the brightness, this stem was blown out when I took the picture. But you can see there's a dark halo around it because there's no way to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Now look at this black one. If I go all the way up, it kind of, maybe I guess...
There's not enough bright pixels in it to get brighter.
Yeah, maybe it depends on the image too. Yeah, I'm not real good with that, so...
All right, that's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so what we need to do, I'm going to delete this now. Oops. You know what? This is another thing that Photoshop has that I like is the history tab. And if you think you've gone too far, you just click back and it goes away. Delete layer mask. Delete layer. There we go. Okay. Okay, so we're back to a plain thing. Now I'm going to show you how to refine this. So we're going to click on the RGB. I'm going to click on the selector tool. But what I'm going to do is save this as its own channel. And you see here, this is the same icon as the layer mask one down here. But up here they call it save the selection as a channel icon. So I'm just going to click this, and it's going to create an alpha 1 channel. So if I click on that, and then I have to press Shift, Control, or Command, and Alt Option. So if you see, I'm running out of hands here. If you can see the little X, you see the little hand on the alpha, and then there's a little box. This one has an X in it. What that's going to do is get rid of a percentage of layers, and I believe it's like it reduces the amount by 50%. So before we had a 50% gray, so this will reduce that 50 by 50 more percent, which would be 25. Essentially 75%. We do it again and again. You can see the little marching ants are getting smaller. So this is more focusing on the really bright areas. So I'm going to come down here and then click the layer mask. And I'll show you what that looks like. Now you can see these leaves are pretty dark. You can't even, now before the last layer mask, they were a little transparent. So this is focusing on more of the extreme bright areas. So we can go up here, and now when I do this, it's not even touching the leaves. So this is refining the mask, targeting only the extra really bright areas. Did Rolando ever get back? Anybody know?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. I was just wondering if okay. Okay, but this is how difficult. This is the worst one. Alright, so I'm going to go to another one. There's another guy that I watch a lot, and he does something very similar. So I'm going to get rid of this mask again. We're going to get rid of the alpha channel because we don't need that. So RGB, and then he holds and presses and holds the Control Command button, and then clicks RGB again. So that's another way to do it. Like I said, there's more than one way to do the exact same thing. And then it would be the similar. So if we want to do another channel, we do that, and we got to click on it, and then it's just a big pain in the butt to have to refine it. And you really don't know how much, you can look at the marching ants, but you really can't see what it's doing until you put it on a layer. Which is, if I had to do luminosity mask this way, I think I would give up. I don't think I would be doing this. Oh, what happened here? Oh gosh, now see I got lost here. Let's go back. So yeah, you can either go to RGB and use a selector tool, or you can do RGB and hold Control and click to create all these. Yeah, that's all it does. Alright, so let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning. Ooh. Okay, so now I'm going to show you. Oh no, there's a better way. If you still don't want to use the third party, there is a much easier way. And if you don't use them that often, this is probably the method I would use. So you go to Select and Color Range. And I know you're like, color range? I thought we were doing luminosity. We are doing luminosity, but this color range is going to bring up a dialog box here. And if we click the drop-down menu, holy cow, we got reds, yellows, greens, highlights, midtones, and shadows. Holy cow! So let's just click highlights. So even in here, which is nice, small, but you can still see what that selection is selecting. You can see that the white that's revealing is right here, and the black that's concealing is here. If we went to the midtones, which this is mostly midtones, that's a bad example, or the shadows. Now it's concealing the bright areas and showing only the shadowed areas. And you have the ability to change the mask. You can edit the mask. You don't have to stick with the exact same thing that they give you. You can always refine the mask this way. So if I click OK, there's our marching ants again. Now that's a heck of a lot easier than going to RGB and clicking this and clicking the selector and clicking the washing machine. Don't you agree? I just wanted to show you that there are multiple ways to do this. So we have this. Oh, where are my layers? Oops. Oh God. Hold on. Let me delete this. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Okay. Let's try that again. Select color range, and we're going to select the highlights because I want to show what the highlights are. We hit OK, and we have a selection. We are on our pixel layer, so I'm going to click on the layer mask, and it's going to automatically load it. So that looks just like what we did before, correct? Same with this. Let's get rid of this layer mask. Select color range. Let's play with no, let's do the shadows. Let's do the shadows this time. Okay, and so we have the shadows selected here, and I'm going to come down here to insert a layer mask. I don't know why that cartoon keeps popping up. I want to put a layer mask on this adjustment layer, so I'm going to come down to there and click on it, and like I said, it automatically loads the selection to the layer mask. So I'm going to make now this, remember, we have the shadows selected here. So if I want to brighten up the leaves, I can do that without affecting this bright sky. I mean, it's touching some of it, but and that's where you want to refine it, if you want to refine this. So there's that. And another cool thing, now this is what I love about it. If you really don't know what you want to do and you want to just play with it, you can, if you want to click on, just do the greens, which pretty much everything is green. Let's click on that. Oh, no pixels are more than 50% selected. Okay, so I won't see any marching ants, but there is a selection there. I'm going to click a mask. Get out of there. So this is a mask I created, and nothing is 50% gray or below, I guess, with the green, when I just select the greens. So I'm going to click on the adjustment again and see what we can do with this. So you can see here, it's just affecting the green pixels. So this might be something, Manny, if I'm not sure what it is that you're doing, but if you're trying to target a certain color area, this might be a way to do that. And it doesn't have to be just brightness contrast. It can be with any of these adjustment layers. You got levels and curves, exposure. There's the color. So you want to do a hue saturation. I'm going to turn this off. Let's get rid of that. Go back up to select, color range, and we'll keep the greens. Hit OK. All right. And now with this adjustment layer selected, we're going to click the layer mask, and it automatically loads it. You can see that it's automatically loaded here. Now we're going to open up our adjustment, and we can change the color or the hue. We want to make it more saturated. We want to desaturate it. We want to make it a little bit brighter. We want to make it a little bit darker. And you have all these different things you can do to it. I mean, look, you can make it more of a dirty green, yellowy, or you can make it bright, vibrant, like springtime green. So there's lots of different things you can do with this adjustment. Select color range. I love it. And if you're like a portrait photographer, there's even one here for skin tones. I don't have a picture on hand right now for that, but you can do that, and you can also sample your own colors. So that first one here, sample colors. Let's say I wanted to go this yellowy green down here. Let me just click on that with the eyedropper, and look how that changed. Only those little bits. There's a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. That's all that's being revealed. Now if we want to go to a little bit darker green, we can see this, but it's not selecting the whole leaf, because these leaves have different variations of luminosity and hue and saturation. So every time we do that, now I wonder if I hold, okay, yeah, if you hold the shift, this is a little tip. Usually pushing the shift button when you're selecting stuff will add to it. And you can see here, I keep adding more and more and more green to that. You see how I've made it? So you can go and you can change the masks here, however you want to do it. And I don't expect everybody to understand what this is all about. What I want to do is to give you a little inkling about what is possible, and so you can take this video if you want after it's over and play with this on your own. Now this is in my Lightroom. I am not damaging this image at all. There's nothing going to happen to it. If I don't like it, I just delete it. I can go up here and close it and delete it and like, I don't need this anymore, because I can always re-enter it and just play with all these tools. Color range, there's so many other tools here, and the select tool will get you there. Alright, so let's delete that. Alright, now I'm going to show you my preferred method. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything on my little notes here. I showed you all about that. Method 3, color range. Yep. Okay, method 4. This is our plugins, our luminosity masks from either TK Actions or Lumenzia. They pretty much do the same thing. A little bit of history. I don't really know how they all started, but I do know that they've been doing this for about 10 years, give or take. I just saw a video. Lumenzia was started by a guy named Greg Benz, and I saw a video on his YouTube channel. You can look these up for free content, that he started creating actions. Actions are like a preset in Lightroom, but they're an action that you can install. A lot of people sometimes give them away, and it's a way to do many different things that have multiple steps that you seem to do the same steps every time. So you can technically it's actually recording each step, and it's called an action. So what Greg did was he created actions for everything that we did with the channel, with the RGB and the click, the control, and click, click. But he created like 10 different, oh my God, 10 different channels that he would give you these actions so you can create these all yourself. But essentially what you had to do was download every single channel so it would give you every variation of luminosity. It's really, really dark, like this here. Stem is very, I think it's actually blacked out. And then the we got the very bright brights, the almost bright brights, the mid-tones here, kind of. So he would create them all, and I'll include a link to his channel if you wanted to see it, because it's really funny when you know what is out right now, and you go back to when they first started and their first iteration. You know, it's like driving a Maserati and then looking at a Model T. You know, look how far we've come. So anyway, that was kind of neat. So they started doing that, and because their technique has gotten so much more refined and so much easier, it's just clicking a button now. It's one button. There's no pressing control. There's no trying to remember what button do I click to do this. How do I do this? So in addition to luminosity masks or selections, they have all this other stuff, which you can see here. Let me zoom that in here. So these are the luminosity selection buttons in Lumenzia. These down here, you might recognize, these are adjustment layers. This is color balance, I believe, hue saturation. I forget, I can't remember the icons. And then down here are different things you can do that have nothing to do with luminosity. So they've been adding so many new things to essentially make it worth your while to purchase. And I think it's like $35-40 to get this plugin. It's not expensive at all compared to other things photography related. This is pretty cheap. The one thing though, if you're brand new, which I did at first when I bought this, is I bought the tutorials on how to use it, because I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I have so many tutorials. I think I've said this before. During the early days of COVID, I bought anything anyone was selling. Any big name photographer that I followed, if they put out a book, if they put out a calendar, if they put out a tutorial, if they sold presets, I don't care what it was, I bought it. And some of them I've actually watched. So anyway, so we're gonna go and I'm gonna show you how easy it is to create luminosity masks with this. Remember before, channels, selector tool, control button. Here, one button. It's called Lights 1, and it is so refined now. This is basically a set of actions that's put into a format that's easy to read and easy to look at. What he did was he created an action to do the 50% gray and then go and hide the marching ants and then show us what it looks like. So if we want to refine it a little bit more, all I do is hit the lights, L is lights, lights 2. Just one click. Look at that. Now this is creating the mask. We're not doing anything to the image. If I want to go even more, lights 3, lights 4, lights 5. Because let's say I got some blown out highlights here and I just want to affect the really, really bright stuff. I can even go down to light 6. This here is the extreme. This I did blow it out. So let's say that I was in a real world situation and I really love this image and oh my god, I got to make it work somehow. I could take this light 6, which is only showing the areas in white, and I could put a warming filter on it. I could make it like glowy, maybe make an Orton effect, so it doesn't look so. Jeez, I got a phone call. Who the hell's calling? Sorry about that. But you can, whatever it is that you want to do, you can do that. Now let's X out of here. Now let's try the darks. So we're in the darks 1. This is everything 50% gray or darker. And then we refine it more. Darks 2, darks 3, darks 4, darks 5. 1 click, folks. 1 click. And I ask you again, why would anybody want to use the manual? It's so well. Now let's say you're doing this. Let's say we're in darks 1 here, and darks 2 is just too restrictive or whatever. I can go in and I can refine this mask by just clicking on this levels here. Everything in orange, that is part of the Lumenzia engine. That is what's creating these actions, or these presets. Basically, it's essentially a preset. So you can see here it says Lumenzia preview, levels, darks 2. This is curves adjustment, and then a color conversion. So this is what actually turns that from green and different colors to black and white. But if you want to refine it, you can just double click on this, and I can refine the mask within the mask. Let's say I want to keep it here. I just X out. Now I got a new mask. I created my own personalized mask according to my image. So I'm gonna select that. And now I'm going to put it on this brightness contrast layer here. I'm going to click the layer. And there you go. Oh, I don't have it. Sorry. I didn't have the eyeball on. See? But another cool thing with this is we'll do the light 6. We'll go really restrictive here. So all this is affecting now is this light stuff. If I want to, I don't even need to click any layers. I can just click on, this is the levels adjustment. This is all included in the Lumenzia panel. So I click on that, and it's going to take that and automatically put it on a curves layer with the mask attached. I didn't have to do any of that. So I can click in here. Let's say I wanted to darken these. See, I'm darkening just those really bright areas. And that's all I'm affecting. So, I mean, I'm not saying this is good, but I'm just doing this to show you what it can do. This is the power of luminosity masks. And they even have colors. If you wanted to come up, remember the select color thing? You can go up here and select, what is this? Purple? Oh, there's no purple. So we got a little bit of blue in the sky, so it's selecting that. And you can just cycle through and click whatever you want. Here's the green. There's the yellow. You can see a little bit of yellow coming through. And if you wanted to select your own, there's the eyedropper there. And I want to select, let's select this yellowish. And then it puts it over here. Okay. So, and then you just hit the X to exit out of there. Let's see. One more thing. So I showed you the darks, there's even midtones. I'll show you those later. And then if you want to be a little bit more generic, so there's A, B, C, D, E. So 5 different areas. If you all familiar with the Ansel Adams zone, he has the tonalities from the blackest blacks to the whitest whites, there's 10 different areas, zones. Well, here we have them, 0 to 10, all down here at the bottom if you want to do it that way. And then here, he's combined these 10 into 5 separate channels, I guess you want to call them. So if we wanted to do... Okay, come on. There's that. I want to click the A button, a little bit different. So there's so many different ways you can select, and there's so many different things. I'm just scratching the surface of what these things can do. The plugins anyway. But this is essentially what the Luminosity will do. Here, let's go on the 10. This is the zone 10 of the Ansel Adams zone system. You go to 9, 8, and you can even just, if you want to move the little slider. So, and it's the same for TK. Now I gotta remember, I don't use TK very often. Let's see, export. Is this the one? Oh God, I always forget. There it is. So here's the TK action panel. I don't have that in because I don't have enough room for all my panels. But it's basically the same thing. It's just in a little bit different of a format. So you've got the darks here, got the whites over here, midtones, and then they also have Tony Kuiper is where this is named after, TK, and the person that he works with a lot is Sean Bagshaw. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. He's another person that I won't call him a good friend, but I'm acquainted with him. We have met. And we chat once in a while on social media. But he creates all the tutorial videos for Tony Kuiper and his TK actions. And they're both about the same price. I believe they may be more than $35 now. That was 4 years ago. But they're not much more. And then if you get the videos to help you, or you can just play with it. You can wing it like I do. God forbid. Why watch a tutorial, right? But now let's say you didn't want to, you really like that, but you don't want to spring for it. Both of these guys have free versions. Lumenzia has what they call Lumenzia Lite, and TK has what they call TK Loom Mask. And I have links here that I'll share with you later. So you can download the free version if you like. Get back to my Zoom. I want to unshare. God, I need Delphin here. How do I do this? Oh, there we go. Stop share. Okay. Oh, Oscar's here. Hi, Oscar.
Hello.
So that is essentially what the Luminosity masks are. The 3 different versions that are kind of hard to do, and then the easy one, which is the third-party plugins. Does anybody have any questions or any thoughts, any comments? I'm going to show you how to use them in real life.
No, I've never used it before, so that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's, the first time I had seen that, it was, I think, anybody follow Nick Page? Nick Page, he's got a YouTube channel. I'm a big YouTuber because I don't have cable anymore. So I just watch YouTube and mostly photographers, so that's where I'm finding all these people. But Nick Page, I had been following him since I pretty much found YouTube. And he used to do a podcast too. But he always talked about Luminosity masks, and this is back in 2017. And I could barely round trip into Photoshop back then, and I'm like, I don't want to get into that. Because I wanted to learn Lightroom first, and I felt, a couple years later that I had done that, so I bought his tutorials. And it's basically an introduction into Photoshop, not just Luminosity masks. Of course, I watched like 2 videos, and then I didn't watch the rest until COVID. And then I'm like, hey, he's talking about Luminosity masks. Maybe I should buy some. And I did, and I bought both of them. I bought their tutorials, which I didn't watch. But when I started to get into I did start watching one guy's tutorials, and I'm like, you know what? Let me pull back up. I went back to Nick Page, and I watched from front to back. I watched them all, and I was like, oh. So once you start learning, if you're not familiar with Photoshop that much, this is going to be like, oh my god, it's so much information. But if you really want to learn how to post-process, and you can do some really amazing things, I would highly recommend, even to start out, to go watch someone like Nick or Sean Bagshaw or Greg Benz, and they have some phenomenal videos that are free. Everything's free on their YouTube channel.
Can you send some of those names?
Yeah, I'll put them on our website, and I'll make sure that everybody knows.
Okay, just
There's a lot. I've got them all listed here, but I'll list their websites, and I'll put their YouTube sites on there, and you can go look at their videos.
okay. Yeah, because I already forgot all the names that you mentioned.
Right? No, I know. You can't remember everything. There's a lot of information in this. I actually spent quite a bit of time putting this together because I wanted to make sure everything. Now, if you wanted to do the old-fashioned way, I'll give you Eric Bennett's tutorials, and I remember looking at it going, holy shit, dude, I'm not doing that. Because I had already been playing with luminosity masks. And I'm like, why would you make things more difficult? I never understood that, but that's what he knows. And that was another thing that I brought up in my notes. It's like, which method is right for you? Why did I write that? Oh God, I got all these notes, and you think I can remember it? No, whatever method works for you. Let's say you start driving when in 1950 or something. You were driving a stick, and why do you still drive a stick? Because that's what you learned on, and that's what you know, and you like it. Now somebody 40 years later starts driving, and I don't want to drive a stick. Why would I drive a stick when I can drive an automatic? Because, you know what I'm saying? Same thing with this. So if you started learning how to do these masks the difficult way, and you got so efficient, people like typists back in the day, they could type 70, 100 words a minute. It wasn't because they were looking at their keyboard. They knew. They had the finger muscle memory. They knew exactly how to hit that. And that's the same with this. Unfortunately, I don't have that. I can type pretty fast, but I can't do that. So, what I'm going to do now is I've got some photos that I'm going to go and edit, and I'll show you how to use luminosity masks in a real world situation. So I'm going to go back and share my screen again. I just wanted to pop out to answer any questions. If anybody is anybody like, oh my god, I have no idea what you just showed me. Anybody? You want to admit it?
no.
Because that was like totally me. I remember watching it going, I have no idea what you're doing. Anyway. Alright, so let me share my screen again. Share. Okay. Alright, let me get rid of this. Close. No. Close. No. Get rid of Mr. TK. I don't want to see you, dude. Alright, I'm just going to use the Lumenzia because that is the one that I have used the most when I have used them. So we're going back into Lightroom. And we're going to start with this little image here. Now I've done some edits on here. I've adjusted the white balance and brought up the shadows just a little bit. This is an image I took back in 2017, so the image is... It's not taken with a real sophisticated camera. It was my first crop sensor. But I like the picture. Oh, and I put a little crop on it. If you look at the original, there's part of Jason's truck in there. I was sitting in the passenger seat. And instead of getting out of the truck, I just leaned out of the passenger seat and snapped a picture. Nobody has to know, right? Okay, so this is the crop that I ended up with. So this is what I like. I'm going to right click. Now I'm in Lightroom. If you don't know, I'm in Lightroom. Edit in Photoshop. So this is going to take this image slowly. Everything's slower on here because I'm recording. That's why it takes so long. Oh, we are there. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we just have one layer here. So what do we want to do with this? What I want to do is brighten up some of these clouds here. They're a little dingy looking. So I'm going to go and do a luminosity mask. That's just too generic. There's too much stuff selected here. I want to do lights too. That looks pretty good. Let's see what the 3 looks like. That's a little bit too restricted. You know what I'm going to do? I am going to refine this just to bring back a little bit more of those clouds. There. But what I want to do is I want to dodge and burn. What I'm going to do is paint my preferred method is painting my adjustment onto a selection. So what's awesome is they have a dodge button, which is essentially dodge and burn. So I'm going to click on that, and what it's going to do is create a mask. Is it going to create a mask? Hold on, I can't remember now. Dodge burn. Okay, yeah, it created a new layer. You'll see here it created a pixel layer. Where's my zoomer? My zoomer. So you can see here, this is our original pixel layer, and this here is a blank pixel layer, but it attached this luminosity mask to it. So where'd you go? Where'd you go? There's got to be a better way to zoom. I'll find that out before our next one. So what I'm going to do then is click on our pixel layer. It had already selected a brush. This is the brush tool, or you can push B for brush. Now I want a brush. I'm going to show you. I'm just going to show you this layer mask here. So remember, anything that I do is only going to come through on the white areas. White reveals and black conceals. Remember that. So if I decide to paint in the tree, it's not going to do anything. So it's essentially acting like a stencil. Remember in the old days you could put a stencil down and you color over it? It's not going to go beyond the borders. So if I change everything, put like a big color mask, it's only going to affect the areas that are in white here. So back to our pixel layer. I've got the brush. And let's see, what do I want to do? I want a white brush. Alright, I'm at 100% flow, 100% opacity. I'm going to bring that down quite a bit because otherwise it's going to just freak out. Okay, so when we start painting, and I'm painting on the clouds, and I'm going to go over here and paint some more. But see, I can paint in the tree. Now it looks like I'm not doing nothing, right? You're like, God, Barb, I don't see shit here. But I am. So I'm just going to hit the cloud areas that I want to brighten up. I guess I could raise the opacity just a little bit and make it go faster. Now remember, I'm just affecting the white areas in our mask, which is essentially these clouds. So now watch when I turn this layer off. Now you can see what I've done in the clouds, right? And if you wanted to make it, you know, if you wanted to really go crazy, there. Now it's selected all the light areas here, so we're doing that. But I'm going in here and it's not touching the tree. It's not doing anything to the tree, just the clouds areas. I can go up here and brighten that one up. Go down here and brighten these up a little bit. So that is the beauty of a luminosity mask. Off, on, off, and on. So I was able to brighten up the clouds without touching the tree. I love that. Now, what else do I want to do? I don't really like the color of these. This green, it looks a little bit olivey. Does that make a sense here? So I'm gonna click on the little eyedropper. Oops. And I'm gonna click. You know what? I'm just gonna cancel that. Let's just do green. I click on the green. Oh jeez, that wasn't a good idea. Let's see. There we go. See, I'm refining this mask, so everything now that is green, I just brightened the heck out of the mask, and now I can see it. So whenever I make my change, it's gonna only affect the green in these white areas here. So I'm gonna click on, I think this is the hue. I think this is the one I want. This is a selective color. I guess it'll do. I can't ever remember what these adjustment layers are. Anyway, so let's go to the greens here. And now we can affect the colors. Let's do the yellow. That's going to do more. Is it doing anything? There we go. I don't know if you can see that. Look down here in the bottom left. You can see it a lot more, the change. It's very subtle. You know what? This is probably a bad idea. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to delete this. Try this again. Go to the green. And I'm sure there's a way to keep going with the selection I just made, but I can't remember how to do that. So let's do that. And now I'm going to go with another. You know what? Let's figure out what this is. Oh, it doesn't tell me. All right, we're gonna wing it. Ah, hue saturation layer. I got it. So I want to change the hue. So this green isn't so yellowy, olivey looking. So I can make it red. Look at I made him purple. I made some of this purple. That's what you can do. And look how targeted that is. I don't want purple. I want to make them a little bit more vibrant green. I was there in the spring. I want it to look like I was there in the spring. Now I could go crazy and, you know, get it over here, and I could saturate the heck out of it. You know, if you really want to make something, you know, a little bit of oh, what's that artist's name? Salvador Dali-ish. Go crazy. You know what? You can do whatever you want. It looks like I have, you know, green snow on this tree. You can do whatever you like. The more outrageous I show you, the easier it is for you to see. But this is what I like to do, just to give it a little bit better of a, to show what I remember it looking like. Because this, you know, this is just kind of drab. Put a little bit more blue into it. Give it a little bit more saturation. So we're going to turn this layer off. And I'll show you, check out, just look at the greens over here. So that's off. That's on, off, on. You can see the difference in the green. It looks a little bit fresher, a little bit more vibrant. Alright, so what else can we do? What else can we do? Well, this was taken at around sunset. Just before sunset, maybe an hour or two. The sun's coming from the right here. So what I think I want to do is maybe increase the light that's coming in, like kind of make it directional. So I am going to do a light selection. Let's try a L2. And what I want to do is highlight the light areas in the ground. It's a little restrictive. Huh. So I'm gonna go in there and edit the mask by clicking on the levels here. I'm just gonna make that dark. And I don't care what it's doing in the sky because I'm not gonna paint in the sky. I'm just gonna paint down in the ground. But I have to be careful because I could, if I go in the sky a little bit, it's gonna put that in there. So I'm just gonna crank the crap out of this. And I want to make it dark enough so that the tree doesn't get affected. That looks pretty awful, doesn't it? Okay, so I want to, now what I'm essentially going to do is dodge and burn, or I'm just going to dodge this area. So I'm going to click dodge. Dodge, burn. Okay. I'm going to adjust my brush a little bit, my size. And I'm going to dodge and burn with a little bit of color. So I want to pick the color that's already there. So you can just take your eyedropper anywhere in your picture and pick a color. So there's one. So it's kind of sunsetty color. I'm going to crank the brightness of it. So over here you can see in this dialog box, this is the color that it was, and this is the color that it's going to be when I paint on it. And I'm going to just move that a little bit less saturated, and I'm going to click OK. So we're essentially dodging and burning with color. So I'm just lightly going. I would never do this at 100% normally, but because speed and all that. What time is it? 8:20. Okay, we're not doing too bad. So I'm going to come over here, and you can see I'm really brightening up some of that area, especially here. So it looks like the sun is really low, and it's just shining across the landscape here. And if I want to do it here on the ground, I can do that here. Ooh, look at that. I guess I better do it all. But if I come in here, I can even see if I can affect some of these branches. Oh, it did select them. I just zoomed in a little bit, and I'm just going to lightly brush anything that would normally be hit with light. I'm just going to tap on it, making sure I don't get into the sky, because that would be not good. So let's just tap some of these little areas here. Over in the mountain, see this little bush here. Oh, we got that. Let's make our brush smaller right here. I think you get the idea. So let me turn that layer on and off. So this is off, on. I mean, when you're looking at it on, it doesn't look like you did much. When you turn it off, you can really see what it's done. And if you ever do something like this and you think, oh my god, I went too far, it looks horrible, there's an opacity slider here. So you click on the opacity, just drag it down a little bit. So here we got it at 50%. That's off, on, off, on. So a little softer. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to group these here so I can show you what I did totally. This is how we started the image. So only 3 little things, and this is the end. I mean, I didn't do a whole lot to it, but it's got a lot more, there's contrast now, it's a little bit more vibrant. There's our original, and there's after. And there's so much more. If I wanted to put a vignette on, I could do that. So yeah, this is basically what I do with it. And not every image needs to have these things. Some people rarely use them at all. And I know a lot of times when I first started with learning Photoshop and I was learning all these new tools, and I thought, oh my god, it's going to take me forever to process a photo. But the truth is, not every photo you take is going to need every single adjustment done. You don't need to use luminosity masks on everything. I'm just showing you what is possible. So, and I don't know if anybody of you, any one of you are curious about the round trip part. Let's say I finish this. I'm going to click Save, File, Save. And so down here you can see it's saving on the blue bar. Okay, it's done saving, so I'm going to reduce that. Now we're back here in Lightroom, and look down here. There's our original, and there's our new image. It put it right back next to the one that I had. There's the new one. There's the old one. And you can see here by the file name, oops. Oh, here we go. Let's try that. Up here is the file name. I just hit the I button for information. This is the Photoshop TIFF. I don't know why it names it that. That's not how I have it set up, but this is what it's doing. So this is a TIFF file now, whereas this one is the RAW, the DSC6. Yeah, I used to name my files with the date and all that. So it was May 19th, 2017. That's when I took it. So that's what round tripping means. I started here in Lightroom, made a few adjustments, put it into Photoshop, made a few more adjustments, hit save, and it brings it right back to Lightroom. It's in your catalog, and it has all the things that you can do with it. If you wanted to change like things in the library, I can't find it. Anyway, we don't have to go into that. That's another show. Alright, so there's a couple more. Is this the one I want to show you? Yeah. So I'm going to show you two ways. Now I'm going to do an exposure blend. So this is an image I took up a long time ago. Up at my mom and dad's in Melbourne. Beautiful sunset. So I took one because I didn't want to blow out the highlights. Again, I was with my old camera, and it didn't have very much dynamic range, unlike the camera I have now. So I took one for the highlights. As you can see, just a touch there is streaming through there. I'm not going to worry about that. And then I took a dark one. I don't know why I did that. I probably could have just stuck with this. So let's make a few adjustments here in Lightroom. I'm just going to brighten this up a little bit. The shadows a little bit. And then I'm going to hold down the shift button and click on the second one and sync. So everything I did in that first one will be done to the second one. I think that's done. So there's so we got a nice bright foreground here. Now we can put those together. I'm going to highlight both of them. I'm going to right click, edit in. I'm going to go down here at the bottom here. So we've got a lot more selections here. Don't worry about these middle ones. I never use them. That's some more crap I bought a long time ago that I never use. So I'm going to open as layers in Photoshop. So what this is going to do is open them both in Photoshop together. Oh, hold on. Yeah, let it do its thing. Let's move that out of the way. Get rid of this. Okay. So you see here, up here is where the files are. We have one file, but it has both of our images are here. So if we wanted to, so let's say we like the sky in this one, but this image we like the foreground. So what I want to do is paint this bright stuff here, or the bright stuff, paint out the bright sky here. So what we're going to do is, hold on a second here. What do I want? Okay, so I don't want this dark foreground. So I am going to try to pick a luminosity mask. Let's look at this. Oh, that's too much. And I just want to affect most of this lower area. So this is the darks 2, darks 3. We're getting a little bit more. And darks 5. That looks good. Let's see what dark 6 looks like. Let's do a dark 5. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is, again, I'm dodging and burning. I'm going to paint. So I'm going to click the dodge button here. Or no, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. I am just going to use it as a mask. So I'm going to click this mask. Let's make sure I do this right. Please work. Yay. Okay. So that selection now is here. It's on this layer. And you can see that. This is what it looked like before. And now this is what the layer. Oh, that wasn't what I wanted to have happen. I wanted to go the opposite. Okay, so you know what? We're going to go back to the layer. I'm going to Control I and invert it. There we go. So now we have the sky. Remember, this is our original. We have this sky. And we have the bottom foreground. So I've just merged these two together. I mean, it's not a great shot. I didn't take the time to do it correctly. But that is essentially how you can do it. And if you want to refine it, you can do that too. If I go click on this mask, and I do a brush, let's say I want to edit the mask. I'm not editing the image, I'm editing the mask. So I have a brush, and what part of it don't I like? I don't like the water. So I'm going to take a brush with black, and I'm going to paint that out. Now let's see what that does. See that? So this is kind of, it's a pretty easy thing to do, and I don't do it enough, so I'm not doing it right. But that is essentially what this can do. So the luminosity mask helped create a stencil. And there are times, like if you really have an extreme dynamic, let's say you got a big sun there. And I've got another image that has that. Let's close that out. I'm not going to save that ugly thing. Now, like this here. There's really dark, and then there's the really bright one. Now, I took 3 images because that's what I was told back in the day. This is what you have to do. Now, this one, essentially, I don't even need to adjust it. I could just crank up my shadows, bring down my highlights a little bit, and, you know, that looks good. If I want to do the sky, I can always go up in Lightroom and do the sky. When I took this image, though, this was not available. It just selected the sky. Now I can up the shadows in the sky. Blacks. So, I mean, this can all be done right in Lightroom. But we're not doing a Lightroom course. We're doing a Photoshop course. So let me delete this. And let's put this back. So we're going to take this image. And I like the orange here. So I'm going to use this one and this one. Right click, edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. Okay. Oh, there we go. So this is our normal, and this is the dark image. So, how do we do this now? Okay. I just want this color. I want to paint that in. Let's put this on top. So I'm going to put a mask on this. Okay, it's already, so it's a white layer mask, so it's showing everything in this image. What I want to do is invert it, because I want to put a black mask on it, so I'm covering it up. But what I want that, oh, where is it? I want this orange in the middle to be on there. So what I'm going to do with this layer is do I have to hide this? I think so. This is how little I know of this stuff, so bear with me here. So what I'm trying to do is find a luminosity mask that, see that here? It's only doing that. Is this 2? Lights 2, lights 1. You know what I'm going to do with lights 1? I'm going to adjust the mask a little bit to get rid of the sky. Come on. Okay, and we're going to select it. There it is. Okay, so our mask is on there. Why isn't it showing? Oh, it is showing. Okay. Hide the ants. This is really bad. I am doing a terrible job of explaining this. So you can see here, this is the mask that Lumenzia created, and this is the image with just the sky. The sky. That's all that's coming through here and here. And it doesn't look like I did much, but if I blacken it, now look at that. Look what it's done. So this. Like I said, I'm not very good at this. I don't do this very often. What I mostly use luminosity mask for is dodging and burning. The things that I showed you, I might add some light somewhere. I like it to use just so I don't, almost like a stencil, so I don't spill out into areas that I don't want that adjustment to be. If I practiced a little bit more, I could be like Nick Page, and he does these all the time. He'll photograph 3 different images. He'll do the dark foreground, and then the midground, a different color, and then the sky, you know, really dark so that it's not blown out, and then put them together and create just amazing, amazing work. But yeah, this is kind of like, this is the thing that I like to do. Where I painted that stuff in. Let me see. I had this one up before. I was playing with this last night. So I'm going to show you this real quick. I'm going to edit in Photoshop. Just the one. Nope. Just a single image. Okay, there we are. Alright. Get my brush to a manageable size. Alright, so we have this pretty pink flower here. I'm going to go and select the pinks. Now you see here all that light? That is just selecting the pink tones in there. Now let's say I want a little bit more. I'm just going to brighten that mask up a little bit. Keep the rest of it out. And I'm going to do this hue saturation layer. So remember, I'm just selecting the pink areas here. I'm going to double click on the adjustment, and look what I can do with it. I can make it like super duper pink. I can change the color. How do I do that? Oh. There's so many different things here I can do. You can change. Look at that neon pink. And if I wanted to, and let's say I'm going to keep that. It's not very pretty. I'm going to go to the yellow. Get that little yellow area in here. And it selected it just fine, but I don't want to affect any of this other stuff. So I am going to. I'm gonna select it again with the hue saturation. Oh, I picked the wrong one. Damn it! Undo that. Oh yeah, good. I'm learning, guys. I'm learning just like you. So I'm gonna select on the mask, and I'm gonna pick a brush, and I'm gonna paint out a black brush. I'm gonna paint out all this other stuff that I don't want affected. Now I am painting the mask. I am not painting the image. So nothing I'm doing here is affecting the image, only the mask. I just want, all I want showing is that middle yellow little area there. Cause I want to, come on. Probably should have used a bigger brush. Alright, that's good enough. Okay, back to the adjustment. So let's go down to, look at the yellow in the middle. Look at the saturation of that. See, I want to brighten that up. I can make it nice and bright. I can change the hue of it a little bit. That looks cool, huh? Look at that. On, off, off. I mean, just these two. That was before. That's after. I mean, I'm not suggesting that you go ahead and, you know, Ted Turner your flowers, but you could. And let's say you're, you know, if you're like creating a graphic for something, you're creating well in December I'm gonna do a photo finish on how to create like holiday cards. So if you want to create like a flyer for something and you want to use your photo, this is a really cool thing to do. Let's say you just wanted the flower. You can do that, and I think there's even a way that you can get rid of this background and just highlight the flower part. But, you know, let's say you have a theme, a certain color theme. You don't want this color. You want it like blue or something. You can go ahead and change the color. You can do whatever you want, and these masks here will help you do it so precisely. It's fantastic. So, like I said, that was it. And they never looked really cool, the original. But I mean, look at that. Look at that pink. Anyway, that's all I have. Let me stop sharing. Anybody have any questions? Nope.
Barbara, I think I had a severe case of deja vu. Did you give us a class similar to this before?
I used some of those images before. I probably did, not in depth. I did. I know one time. Every time we get into Photoshop, someone always says, "What's that over there?" And they point to my Lumenzia.
Okay. Do
so
you rather?
I have showed some of that, yeah.
Do you rather use Lumencia over the TKO or whatever its name is?
It's not because it's better. It's just because that was the first one I downloaded, and that was the one that Nick used when Nick Page his tutorials. When I started learning, that's what he used, and I thought, well, if he's using that, I'm going to use that. Well, then he went and did more tutorials, and he used TK Actions, and then other people. So I said, oh, let me go buy TK Actions. So and they're both pretty much the same, but yes, I pretty much use Lumenzia.
Okay.
I would like to try the TK. There are so many more features in TK now that I haven't even dipped my toe in. It's just unbelievable, the things that you can do.
All right. I use color range for that.
Oh, do you? Yeah. So that's what I showed before, and you can absolutely do that. You don't need the other stuff, but you know, it's very simple to use once you learn how to use it, and it's just like one click. You're not clicking this and clicking that and going in and hiding this and masking that out. I mean, you can, but I don't know. I like it. I'm a big fan of them.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this off. Once it's done, we'll upload this video to our event page on our website. And I'll also put the websites for all the... So Nick Page, Sean Bagshaw, Tony Kuiper, and Greg Benz, all of their individual websites and their YouTube channels. So you can, now Nick Page doesn't do many YouTubes anymore, but all of his old ones are still there, so you can go back and look. And things haven't really changed that much. So from when they first started doing them, it's just knowing what to do and what's possible, and that's what I like about them. And then I'll also put links in there so you can download the free versions of these, and it's free for life. And that's the cool thing about these is once you buy in, you get free upgrades. So you don't when they upgrade 2 years from now, you don't have to buy the new one. You just click on it and it upgrades for you. You don't have to pay for it.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, are we still meeting on Pinecrest in November?
Are we what?
Are we meeting in Pinecrest Library in November?
Yeah. I talked to Robert. He will be teaching us how to do how to go walking in the Cypress Dome with the alligators and the snakes and all the critters. So it's going to be impressive.
Thank you for that.
Well, there ain't going to be none when we're there, Norma. Robert's going to go ahead of time and shoo them all away. So we're meeting. Manny, what you'd probably confused. We've been meeting pretty much over Zoom for since I think February was our last in-person meeting, official meeting, and we finally got a venue where we can meet in person again. We used to meet at this one place, and it was so far south, and traffic has gotten so bad. So we've just been doing it via Zoom unless it was something like a real live speaker. And but now we have one that's in South Miami, more or less. So we're going to be meeting there, and our first one will be in November 13th. So it's going to.
I'd be interested in going on a field trip outing for photography.
Yeah. We just had one last weekend. I didn't go. I don't know if you can tell. I've got family up in Wisconsin, so I went home for a wedding, and either at the wedding or on the airplane to there, I got a cold, and I'm still kind of like this past weekend. I said I just want to stay home, and so thank you, Oscar, again for leading our folks. Everybody went to the Gold Coast Railroad Museum.
For that field trip in the Double Dome, some people it would be a good idea to bring a scuba diving set because the water. I went there like maybe a week ago.
Yeah.
Wahioki was closed because the water was so high.
Oh boy.
So I mean, the water was over the road.
Yeah. Well, we've got a little bit more than a month before we do it, so maybe it'll clear up. If not, I'll talk to Robert and we'll find out what.
Yeah.
If we're just gonna hang out at the edge, I don't know. We've already got it planned, so we're gonna do something out there. But that is November 23rd. But like I said earlier, we've got one planned up in Palm Beach, Martin counties, November the 9th. That's sunrise at Coral Cove, and then we're gonna go over to Jonathan Dickinson State Park for the morning. And those of us who are spending the night can find something else fun to do.
All right.
That's a good opportunity for you, Manny, since you live in Coral Springs. Be a little bit closer than having to drive all the way down to the Everglades.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording here.